Manchester City 4, Real Madrid 0, 5-1 on aggregate, and Man City coast to the Champions League final in Istanbul. What an easy ride for them. They showed they are the best team in the world. Genuinely, Man City are that good. This team has reached new highs. I've banged on about it stream after stream after stream. But this Man City team are untouchable. Genuinely, like, we could talk about the Centurions, etc., and a team that obviously did reach over 100 points. But this Man City team is a level above. They are playing so good right now. Like, I've never seen anything like it in terms of footballing ability. It is top quality, top class. This Man City team will roll over any team their size. They do not care one bit who they play. They don't care one bit. They will roll over that team that's in front of them. And again today, Real Madrid in their path. Many people saying that Real Madrid, the team that's won the Champions League 14 times, is imprinted in their DNA. It's on their sleeve 14 times. But they were no match. No match, one bit for Man City. Came in and rolled them over. It was an easy game. For Man City, from the start, from the word go, they were at it with the intensity, at it with the fight, at it with the power. You look at players like De Bruyne stood up when it counted. Haaland making himself a presence. You look at Bernardo Silva getting the goals in the big moments. Big key plays for Man City, turning up when it mattered most. Just like the first leg in the Bernabeu last week, Man City came to play football from minute one. They weren't waiting about. They weren't easing themselves into the game. They hit the ground running like an Olympic track sprinter. And that's exactly what you need to do in the Champions League. In Real Madrid, couldn't cope with the intensity. I said it yesterday. When you play away, the first thing you got to do is you got to match the intensity of the home team. They're going to be fired up. They're going to have the crowd behind them. They're going to have that 12th man with that effect. You got to match the intensity. That's the first port of call if you're the away team. Then after that, you feel yourselves into the game bit by bit and start to imprint yourselves. Real Madrid did none of the sorts. Throughout minute 1 to 90, they had zero control of that football match. It was completely and utterly dominated by Manchester City that had a chokehold on that game. A complete chokehold. Like, only one team was playing football in that football match. Like, genuinely, Man City made Real Madrid look like a college team. They made Real Madrid look like a pub team. It was that like vast. The difference in quality between the two sides. It was scary at times. Like, genuinely scary to see that gulf in quality between Man City and Real Madrid. I look at the two teams and I think, wow, like Man City are obviously brilliant. They're the best team in the world. I said that before, but if there's any team that's going to cause a problem for Man City, I thought it'd be Real Madrid. Like, they're probably the second to Man City in terms of quality, especially in the Champions League. That's their competition. But today, it was vast. Genuinely, I'm going to make this statement out here. The difference between the second best team in the world, whoever you believe it is, and the 8th best team in the world is a smaller difference than the second best team in the world and Man City. Man City are by far away the best team in the world. They are that good. Like, you saw it again today. Everything about that team is solid. They have zero weakness. I banged on about it weeks after weeks. I said they're going to win the Champions League. I predicted it throughout. Because they've got no weakness. Everything about that team is solid, from defense to attack. Everything makes sense. Everyone knows their roles. They're cohesive. They link together. Players find each other with their eyes closed at times. Everything about that team is perfection. It works. How can you stop it? We're going to have to wait and see. Look, nothing lasts forever in football, and Man City's biggest weakness can be themselves. And look, the Champions League is not wrapped up by any stretch of imagination, although I do believe it is one hand on the trophy, given that their opponent is Inter Milan, who are, let's be honest, not anywhere near one of the best teams in the world. If anything, they got lucky to reach the Champions League final. Of course, everything's earned, I 100% agree, but in terms of quality, they're nowhere near some other sides in world football. So Man City will feel like one hand is on the Champions League trophy, the trophy that's eluded them season after season. But at the same time, they can't get complacent one bit. They've shown and they've proved over 2 legs they are the best team in the world. You beat Real Madrid 5-1, you are the best team in the world. And I made this prediction before. I said, look, Man City are better than Real Madrid. I 100% agree with that. But for them to win this tie, they need to win this tie by a bigger margin of error, because in close games, Real Madrid show up. Man City did the right thing. They scored the 2 goals and they kept their foot on the gas. They didn't let Real Madrid have a way back into the game. Then once they got their 3rd goal, it was game over. It was wrapped up. Even Alvarez got another one in the final moments. That's brilliant from Man City. Absolutely brilliant. I see your chats going off, by the way. I'm going to react to them in just a second, just going through my thoughts of the game. Anyone else new on TV, make sure you subscribe, by the way. Let me know your thoughts on live chat. I'd absolutely love to hear it. I'd love to hear all your thoughts on this game. But yeah, Man City kept their foot on the gas. That's the main thing. So many times I see a team score 2 goals and then they relax. They think the game's over. They're a bit more complacent on the ball, less urgency to score. That's not the right thing. Yes, Real Madrid, you've got to show complete dominance throughout the whole match. Because as soon as Real Madrid gets some kind of momentum and some kind of confidence back into their play, they can be a different beast. Suddenly, Vinicius starts kicking ball better. Rodrigo starts getting involved. So Man City did the right thing, because from minute 1 to 90, none of the Real Madrid players had a sniff. It's almost as if they didn't prepare for this game. Like, it was such a training exhibition match for Man City. It was so easy. So easy. I couldn't believe it. I thought my eyes were deceiving me. It was that easy. Like, what was I watching? Like it was genuinely, the golfing class was vast. We picked it up as one of the biggest matches of Champions League. But I think it's just proven to show that Man City are just that good. Like, Bayern Munich, they steamrolled them 4-1. Real Madrid, they've steamrolled them 5-1 over 2 legs. 4-0 against Real Madrid. 4-0. No contest. Even if it's 4-0, but doesn't even say the whole picture. Like, genuinely, it was the biggest whitewash I've seen in football terms. It was that clear and obvious who was the better team. And Man City, congratulations. You're through to Champions League final. I wish them the best of luck. I, of course, will be tuning into that game. And, of course, we'll be reviewing it afterwards on this channel. I cannot wait. They'll be rubbing their hands because they know, look, their route to Champions League final has not been easy. No one can take it away from them. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid are two very tough opponents. RB Leipzig less so, but it is what it is, man. Those are two tough opponents, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. They've now got Inter Milan. The route is not easy. They come up against teams that have won the Champions League multiple times before. Can they win their first one? Can they win the treble under Pep Guardiola? If Pep Guardiola wins the treble with Man City, he goes down for me as the greatest manager of all time. Genuinely, if he wins the treble with Man City, because this team is already so good. Like, the quality of this team is untouchable. Can they now round it off with a treble? That's the thing, because the quality is unmatched, but can you round it up with the trophies? Because that's the main thing in football. Football's about the glory, right? You got to have the trophies to back it up. The football I'm seeing with the pitch, the qualitative test, the eye test, perfect. I ain't got a problem with it. It's unbelievable. The defense to attack linkages, Stones slotting into midfield alongside Rodri are two units in there. They're brilliant off set pieces defensively and attacking wise. They play brilliant balls through the middle. De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, Gundogan linking the passes. They play direct to Haaland when they need to. They play out wide to Grealish when they need to. They do everything right and everything's calculated. Everything's measured. Everything's precise, and they wear you down bit by bit by bit, and it's relentless, and they get goals and they get chances and they stop you having them at the same time. Everything about that game, everything about that team is clockwork, and it works perfectly. It works a dream. But can they lift a trophy with it? That is the main thing. They're going to get the Premier League. It's inevitable. They've got 3 games to secure it. They're going to do that. Can they get the Champions League? Can they get the FA Cup? Can Pep Guardiola cement himself as one of the greatest managers? And for me, if he wins a treble, the greatest manager of all time. It's a tall order. Bless you. Let's get into your comments. Complete domination, Man City winning the treble. Well, there we go. For me, I think it's likely now. I genuinely think it's likely. Someone needs to stop this Man City team, because ever since the Nottingham Forest game, which I believe was in March, right? So we're talking a good 2 months now. Not only have Man City won every game, basically, apart from the Real Madrid first leg and the Bayern Munich second leg, not only have they won basically every game, they haven't shown a weakness. Like, they've been solid in all those games. Yeah, you might say they scraped the game against Fulham and Leeds towards the end, but those are just, game management rather than actually scraping it. Every single game they've been solid. Every single game they've been dominant. Every single game the opponent doesn't know how to attack them, and the opponent doesn't know how to stop them. They're the impossible task. They're the impossible puzzle. How do you stop Manchester City? How do you get past them? How do you stop them? It's impossible to think of a way to do so, and that's the most scary thing. Like, when you're drawing up how to stop Man City, you can't. Like, what do you do genuinely? Let me know in the live chat. How do you stop Man City? I've been watching them week in, week out. I can't find a weakness. I feel like, do you attack down their left? Oh, sorry, do you attack down their right? No, you saw Kyle Walker Vinicius get no change out of Kyle Walker today. Kyle Walker was basically running. Every time Vinicius ran at him, Kyle Walker stopped him in his tracks. There was one time in the first half where Vinicius got a through ball, and I was thinking, oh my God, here we go, he's through. It's going to be 1-1. And out of nowhere, Kyle Walker just runs across, shields him, got the more body strength, and shepherds it out. Brilliant from him, man. So everything in that Man City team is solid. In the left-hand side, Akanji, not naturally a left-back. Man City don't own a natural left-back. It doesn't matter. He's doing a brilliant job there. And if it's not him, it's Laporte. And if it's not him, it's Ake. Either way, there's players that can play that position. And everyone in that Man City team is ticking. And this is the thing about Pep Guardiola, right? Because at the start of the season, I accused his Man City team of sleepwalking at times. And that's the crazy thing. Despite the fact they were experimenting, despite the fact that a lot of the team was sleepwalking, I want to say, and not performing to the best of their ability, they were still accumulating a lot of points, even though they were nowhere near their peak. But ever since the Nottingham Forest game, a switch clicked in that team. A switch clicked, and they started to take football seriously again. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the FFP charge as well. Maybe that galvanized the squad. But ever since then, they have been unbelievable, untouchable. They've hit momentum at the right time. So I feel like in previous seasons, because of how good Liverpool have been, Man City have had to hit form too early, and they've burnt out towards the end of the season when it mattered most to win the Champions League, etc. They were able to always win the Premier League, but the Champions League has always eluded them. What's happened is, for the majority of the season, they've coasted. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it's what's happened. And now, when pushers come to shove, they've hit momentum at the right time. And suddenly you're seeing them click on all fronts. Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League, they're all in, man. They're all in. If they were playing like this during the Carabao Cup run, they could have had that trophy as well. Because that trophy's already wrapped up and gone to the other side of Manchester. They've been that good. Heritage can't save Europe from the Premier League dominance. Going to be an abysmal final, one-sided. Well, here's the thing, right, Tommy? I 100% agree with you. That final looks like it's going to be Man City's to win. But I talked yesterday when Inter Milan got through, whether they get Man City or Real Madrid, they got to buy their time. Everyone's going to give it to Man City. The odds are going to be stacked in Man City's favour. But if you're Inter Milan, it's a game of your lives. You got a chance to win the Champions League. Many of these players won't win the Champions League again. Many of these players are retiring soon, like Edin Dzeko, Hakan, Mkhitaryan. They're old players. They can win the Champions League here. The main thing they got to do is they got to buy their time. Look, they've got to be watching every single Man City game from now to the end of the season and look for some kind of weakness. I'm yet to see it, but they will show weakness. No dynasty lasts forever. So when they watch them play Chelsea, when they watch Man City play Brighton, Brentford, watch to see a weakness, any sign of weakness, anything you can exploit. Because if you can exploit something, that's when you see some kind of life. Look, Inter Milan are going to be a different team to Real Madrid. Inter Milan are going to sit 5 at the back. They're going to defend deep. They're going to be sluggish. They're an Italian team. They know how to defend their box extremely well. They're going to be hard to beat. But they're also going to have some kind of threat on the counter-attack. You have to show a threat against Manchester City. That's got to be your key. Look, in the first leg, right, Man City dominated from minute 1 to minute 25 and minute 30. As soon as Vinicius got that goal, everything changed. A flick switch, and suddenly Real Madrid dominated the next 30 minutes. As soon as you get a goal against Man City, or show even some life on the counter-attack, the whole dynamic of the game changes. Man City throws so many bodies forward because they're so confident in their defence. They're confident Kyle Walker can lock up any left winger in world football. They're confident Stones can do a job. Akanji can do a job. Ruben Diaz can do a job. They trust their back four and their goalkeeper. They trust them so much so that they will throw bodies forward, the Gundogan's, the Bernardo Silvas, the Bruynes, the Jack Grealishes, etc. They'll say, you lot do your thing in attack because our defence has got us. But if they suddenly see Denzel Dumfries getting forward, if they suddenly see Edin Dzeko, Lautaro Martinez, Henrik Mkhitaryan getting some joy going forward, that might make them second guess and think, hang on a minute, we got to start to throw some bodies back. And suddenly you won't see Man City throw as many bodies forward. And that's better. Because when Man City throw all those bodies forward, when you see Bernardo Silva pick up the ball in pockets, Gundogan pick up the ball in the half space, it's a really long day. Because then they can start feeding the ball into the danger areas. And you're sitting there thinking a goal's inevitable because the walls start closing in. When De Bruyne picks up the ball on the left-hand side, when you've got certain players just picking up the ball in dangerous areas, you can really struggle to stop the momentum. So for me, Inter Milan, it's a one-legged tie. Anything can happen. The world's going to be favouring Man City, but you're there for a reason. You don't reach the Champions League final by fluke. Anything can happen. And Man City, their record in Champions League final, the last one they played against Chelsea, overwhelmingly favourites, and they still lost that game. So anything can happen. If you're Inter Milan, you've won the Champions League 3 times before, you can win it again. Use that to your advantage. Use that nous to your advantage. Use that experience to your advantage. Defend well, no mistakes, and buy your chance on the counter-attack. That's the main thing. Looks like Ancelotti's eyebrows raised. Didn't work. That's the thing, man. Look, I expected Man City to win this tie, to be honest. I really do. I think they're a much better football team over Real Madrid. They proved it in the first leg as well, despite the 1-1 draw. Real Madrid just did not come to play football. Look, when you're the away team, match the intensity, man. Match the intensity minute 1. You saw Man City's record at the Ethiad. It's almost impeccable in the Champions League. Despite the fact they get knocked out, they're always really good at the Ethiad. So first thing for Real Madrid, compete from minute 1. They tried to play that game sitting off. And the problem is, right, when you sit up against Man City, at home it might work for a little bit because you buy your time. But away from home, if you give Man City even a little bit of an inclination to go forward, if you give them even an ounce of respect in the sense that you're giving them too much time on the football, they're going to take advantage. Because as soon as I saw Kevin De Bruyne pick up the ball in those dangerous areas, I was sitting there thinking it's very hard to stop. You got to cut the supply first of all. And cutting the supply doesn't mean cutting the supply to Haaland. It means cutting the supply to De Bruyne, to Gundogan, to Bernardo Silva. The problem is they've got so many brilliant ball players on the pitch. It seems almost impossible who to stop, man. It's like pick your poison with Manchester City. And I feel like Real Madrid didn't do that enough. Like, the players are praising Modric and Kroos, who have been so brilliant, so tactically aware, so press resistant. They were missing today. It was like the occasion was too big for them. And that's a really strange thing to say, but it felt the case. It felt like Carvajal was 20 years older than he was. It felt like Benzema should have retired years ago. It's really harsh to say such a thing, but when we're talking about levels to this game, right, this isn't some like average football team. This is Manchester City. This is the levels. This is the pinnacle of football for me. They are the best team in the world, and they proved it. They are the best team I've seen. Genuinely, they're matching the 2008-2012 Pep Guardiola Barcelona team. They're matching it in terms of quality. And not just quality in terms of the wins they get, the way they demolish opponents, right? They don't just beat you, they batter you and demoralize you. You leave that game thinking, should I be a football team anymore? Should I just disband the team and stop playing football? Maybe it's time to play basketball. Because they're that good. Like, they know how to dispatch teams in such a confident manner. and just control the match from minute 1 to 90. So good at it. So look, Real Madrid did not compete one bit. The intensity was not right from minute 1 to 90, and they got what they deserved in many respects. Congratulations to Man City. Like I said, to have that same kind of, it's not just the physical fatigue, right? The mental fatigue is a big factor. To be locked in from minute 1 in both legs is a very tough thing to do, man. To fly out the traps in every game you play is so tough. Pep Guardiola and training staff deserves a lot of respect for motivating the players week in, week out. And I think, honestly, despite starting the season slow, and it was very slow for Man City, a lot of experimentation, as soon as they saw the treble in their sights, as soon as they saw the FFP allegations, it galvanized the squad. And suddenly they're all locked in that one task of getting the treble. And who can doubt them? For me, they're going to win the Champions League. They're going to win the Premier League. Can Manchester United stop Man City winning the treble? That would be a story, man. Man United, of course, win it in 99. I was kind of disappointed with the match, though. Madrid would be better. Very passive first half, just sat off them. Tommy, I agree. I thought the first leg was much better in terms of a contest. But here's the thing. We can't blame Man City for that. Look, Man City are the best team in the world. Like I said, they can only really beat themselves, really. If you're the other team, we're looking at you to try and match it. Like I said, at the Ethiad, I think Man City are going to win every single game. But if there's going to be a team that can stop them, I would have predicted Real Madrid, just because of the expertise they have, just because of the quality of players they have, just because of the fact they've won the Champions League 14 times. If there's ever a team that can beat Man City, I thought it would be Real Madrid. But today they had no contest. Genuinely, it was one of the most one-sided matches ever. And that's not Real Madrid being a bad football team. They've proven they're a top football team. It's just Man City are that good. Like, for anyone that was doubting your golfing class, they saw it today. They saw it today because that was clear and obvious how good Man City are. Everything about that team is structured to perfection, man. Man City is currently the best team in the world. No doubt about that. No doubt about that whatsoever, SA10. 100% right. And for me, one of the best teams of all time, in my opinion. Genuinely, if they played like this from the start of the season, they would have got more points than Centurions. I promise you that. They would have blown 105 points out the water. They are that good. Genuinely, they're rivaling 2008-2012 Pep Guardiola tiki-taka Barcelona team. They are quality, man. 242 people watching right now. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here for football-related content on this channel, nearing 2,000 subscribers. Next reaction will be tomorrow for Newcastle versus Brighton in the Premier League. Man City, best team in Europe, without a doubt or a but. Exactly, 100% agree. They stopped Vinicius Jr. You're right, Tommy. And look, that was the main thing for them, because if you look at Real Madrid, right, their main threats come from their wings. They've got the experience down the middle of Karim Benzema, and the spine of their team is very experienced. Alaba's in there as well. Courtois, experienced pro. Modric, Kroos, Benzema. Experienced athletes down the spine of their team. But the youthful tenacity is provided from their wings. Vinicius and Rodrigo are the ones that are attacking on the wings and making sure they do the dirty work. They make sure they get the ball forward. And if they have to supply Benzema, that's their job. If you stop Vinicius and you stop Rodrigo, you're going to get a lot of joy, because Benzema's a brilliant footballer, but Benzema hasn't got the legs to do everything himself. He's not going to chase behind loose balls. You've got to stop Vinicius and Rodrigo, and they did exactly that. That's what I was talking about. I was saying Man City don't really have a weakness. Like, if you're looking at Vinicius, one of the players that's one of the most liquid players, one of the most flair players in the world right now, Kyle Walker locked him down. There was one point in the first half where the ball was through, and I think, go on, Vinicius. He's going to get it back. He's going to be 1-1. And out of nowhere, superhero recovery by Kyle Walker to block, to shield off Vinicius and retain possession. Like, everything about that team is so solid. I don't see a weakness. So you're right, 100% right. They stopped Vinicius Jr. I thought he had some joy in the first leg, got the goal as well, brilliant from him. But in that second leg, he was non-existent. Casper the Ghost. Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Benzema, Luka Modric was so quiet tonight. 100%, man. That whole Man City team lacked the intensity that the whole Real Madrid team lacked the intensity the Man City team had. None of them were up for the fight one bit. And that's a real shame. Genuinely a real shame, because I think there's a chance here for Real Madrid, because if there's ever a team that was going to get a result, it was going to be Real Madrid. So they've got to look to have the same intensity as Man City. They've got to look to try and fight man for man and try and body up on them and try and get possession. That's got to be the main thing for me. But they just didn't. They just didn't one bit. Modric is looking near the end now, but what a player. Tommy, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking Carvajal should retire. What has happened to Benzema? But this is the thing, right? Are we being harsh? Because there's two ways to look at it. Some people say, look, it's Man City. They'll make any team question their legitimacy as a footballer. They're that good. Another part of me is saying, hang on a minute, you're Real Madrid. You're meant to be the biggest club in the world. In my opinion, Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world. Why are you suddenly looking at Man City and thinking, they're just better than us? It is what it is. You should be looking to match and beat that. So if a player's not matching up with Man City, they're not good enough. Get him off the football pitch. That they are the benchmark, Man City, right now. So you can't just sit there and go, these players didn't match the intensity. It's just Man City. They're so good. It's a one-off game. No, it's a one-off game for Brighton. It's a one-off game for Fulham. It might be a one-off game for teams like Leipzig. You're Real Madrid. You don't have one-off games. You don't have games that are free hits. You're meant to be the best team in the world. And I don't mean the best team in the world necessarily out of all times. But of all time the best team in the world. You're a historic football club, man. Football is associated with Real Madrid. You've got 14 Champions Leagues on your sleeve for a reason, because your club has got legends of that game, man. So if a player's not matching up, if your player's not ready for the games in this scenario, they're not good enough. And Real Madrid, to be fair, are ruthless at times. They are. They sign top hitters, man. Modric, Kroos, etc. But if they're not ready for this occasion, you move them on. You be ruthless. You bring in Jude Bellingham. You bring in players like that, man. You bring in Mbappe if he's ready to come in. You try and sign these top players that are ready for the moment, ready to represent the Real Madrid team. Because Man City, the benchmark, you got to match them. Because you didn't. You lost 5-1 on aggregate. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to lose 5-1 on aggregate, especially if you're Real Madrid. Real Madrid don't normally taste defeat. And if they do, it's never by a margin of this much. It's never by a margin this vast. It's never by clear domination. If Real Madrid lose games, they lose games on slim margins. They lose games on the finer things. They never lose games to this amount. They never lose games being absolutely, utterly dominated. They never lose games looking like where one team's a football team and they're just a pub team. So if you're Real Madrid, you got to match Man City. And if that means you move on Modric, if that means you move on Benzema, so be it, man. Get them out the door. The only time Real Madrid looked like they were in this match was early in the second half. That's only because City got lazy with their passing for a few minutes. What is the thing, Jeff? You're 100% right. No team's flawless. We're humans. We make mistakes. Man City will make mistakes, but you got to take advantage. Even at the end of the game when it was 3-0, right? Aaron's back pass, basically an open goal, and Benzema still can't score it. Ederson makes a brilliant save towards the end. But here's the thing about Man City, right? It's not just that they're going to make mistakes. Because every team makes mistakes, right? A, they make so few mistakes. And B, because of how dominating they are in possession, right? You have such few touches of football. It's like you aren't used to the ball. Like, you got to get hot at times. Like, before a basketball game is played, right? The players take shots, practice shots, so they can get warm. When Man City are controlling the football for 2-3 minutes at a time, passing the ball 50, 60, 70 times, it's mentally draining chasing that football and not touching it. Then when you finally get the ball off them, because you haven't had it for so long, you're a little bit rusty and they win it back off you straight away. And then that has a knock-on effect because then you get mentally drained from that as well. So I think because Real Madrid had such few chances and such few joy, when they finally did get their chance towards the end of the game, they didn't know what to do. They just shivered in front of goal. They couldn't do anything. So I think that was the main thing. For Man City, they're so good at controlling matches. Pep Guardiola tells his team, look, with the ball, I want you to be carefully considered maestros, artists. I want you to be Leonardo da Vinci on the football. But without the ball, I want you to be sharks. Chase that ball down, man. As soon as you lose the ball, you win it back. Press. Win that ball back in 3 seconds. Then as soon as you get the ball back, Leonardo da Vinci again. Vincent van Gogh, artist, spray it around perfectly, beautiful, picturesque football. But without the ball, you want to be absolute demons, chasing the ball down. That's how he likes his Man City team. And that's the way to play football, man. They're brilliantly coached. They're brilliant on the pitch. Everything is so good. What performance by City, atmosphere was so electric. Hey, big up the Ethiad, man. I've been critical of the Ethiad recently. I think rightly so, because they've been struggling to fill their stadium, especially for a team that's playing such beautiful football and this close to winning the treble. But today they showed up, man. I think a lot of fans know that this is the moment for them. This is the time they're going to win the Champions League. Not only has their team been so good for so many seasons, I've never said Man City are going to win the Champions League, by the way. This is the first season I've genuinely said I think Man City are going to win the Champions League. And I said it from a few weeks ago. Those of you who tuned into your channel before would know from my Champions League predictions. I said Man City are going to win the Champions League because I sense something different about this team, man. I sense that extra, like, togetherness. Pep Guardiola has talked all in his press conferences about, oh, I don't need the Champions League. Oh, my legacy is already defined. I've won the Premier League. That's all that matters. He's lying. The man's lying through his teeth. He wants this Champions League so badly. This man has not won a Champions League without Messi. He didn't win it at Bayern. He needs to win a Champions League without Messi. He needs to prove that he's not just a Barcelona hitman. He needs to prove he's got a legacy away from La Masia. And for him to do that, he needs to win it with Man City in this team. The quality is there. Like I said, the football matches the Barcelona team of 2008-2012 under Guardiola. The football is there. The big hitters are there. The X factor in Bruyne and Haaland are there. Case in point, they just got to go on and do it. That's the only thing that's required now. The quality of football's there. They've hit the momentum at the right time. They were sleepwalking the majority of the season. They were experimenting with Rico Lewis at left back. De Bruyne not in the team. Cancelo was in and out, etc. All this experimenting is over now. They've now hit the ground running and they've got to get these Champions League over the line. I think if Pep Guardiola wins the Champions League and Premier League, he'll be absolutely delighted. He'll want the treble, but the main thing is he wants that Champions League. He will cry. He will cry all day and all night for that Champions League trophy, man. I expected 2-1 City in extra time. I think I predicted 3-1, to be honest, because I think Man City would win the game. Look, I predicted Man City to win this football match. Why? Because I watch a lot of football, right? So I kind of understand the game a lot. In that first leg, right, I know it finished 1-1, but everyone that understands football will know that Man City were the better team. They were better than Real Madrid. This is how the game went, right? First 30 minutes, it was Man City complete domination. Then Real Madrid got a goal back, and Man City got a little bit nervous. They've suddenly noticed that Real Madrid had a little bit of a burst in them, and they did the right thing. Many would say, oh, just go back to it. You were free. You were dominating for the first 30 minutes. They scored a goal. Why not just go the same? But they lost a little bit of their edge. They got rocked a little bit. But you know what they did? They stayed up. They stayed up. They were boxing the ropes, but they stayed up. The next 25, 30 minutes was all Real Madrid. The last 50 minutes of the first half, the first 15 minutes of the second half. But then what they did is they scored a big goal when they won the ropes. Just when Real Madrid started to gain some ascendancy, already 1-0 up, and started to knock the ball around nicely, had a few corners in a row, De Bruyne stood up and scored a brilliant goal, man. Brilliant goal. Man City weren't carving Real Madrid open. They weren't creating anything clear cut. But from outside the box, Kevin De Bruyne absolutely licked it in the bottom bins, and that got Man City back on the score sheet. And at 1-1, they had the momentum and they kept going forward. But they didn't do anything stupid. They didn't go crazy and push for the goal. They realised 1-1's a good result. Like I said before, their record at the Ethiad in the Champions League is impeccable. Their record at the Ethiad full stop is impeccable. Their home record is unbelievable. They didn't do what other teams do. Look, I've been very critical of teams like Bayern Munich, etc. When they went to the Ethiad, they went to chase the game too early. I remember coming up to Manchester on the day of that game. There was Bayern Munich fans on the train. And I said to them, I said, what do you want? They said, we want to win the game. I said, look, Man City are that good. I've watched a lot of Man City this season. If you get a draw, it's still a very good result. It's still a very, very good result indeed. Don't go chasing that game. And if you lose 1-0, 2-1, so be it. Make sure there's a second leg. Man City did the right thing. At 1-1, they had all the momentum. They could have chased that game. But then if they concede a goal, it becomes 2-1. And then if they carry on chasing, it becomes 3-1. Then it could be game over. Man City did the right thing. They controlled the game. They realised 1-1's a good result. It favours them more than it favours Real Madrid. Because Real Madrid have to come out to the Etihad and get a win then. Whereas we know that's Man City's home. So the right thing, they managed the game well, and they got the win at the Etihad. One thing that would be interesting though is what if the second leg was at the Bernabeu? What if they switched it? It could have altered the events of this tie. Many would say that. But I don't think so, because A, Man City learned their lessons from last season, and B, we saw today Man City's quality at the Etihad. It was the same quality the Bernabeu, 100% the same quality. If this leg was first and Man City went 3-4-0, we wouldn't even be talking about a second leg. It would be case and point finished. That's the thing. So over 2 legs, Man City not only proved they're the better football team, they showed it, and they got the win as well, 5-1. Deservedly so. 261 people watching, by the way. Make sure you subscribe if you're new out here for football related content, and subscribe on my road to 2,000 subscribers. I'm very nearly there. 316 watching right now. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Did City sell out? For once, the atmosphere was better. I bloody hope they sold out. It's a Champions League semi-final with one of the best teams of all time playing football. They must have sold out. Bad day to be a Real Madrid fan. First Barcelona wins the Liga, and now they're out of the Champions League. Where's the thing, man? Madrid will be back. They're the biggest club in world football, but they do need to have a bit of a rethink, I think. Certain players like Modric, Kroos, they've won your Champions League, so be it. But you got to move on. You're Real Madrid. You got to be ruthless, man. It's got to be synonymous with your football club. You can't be sitting there and giving players time because it's a nice thing to do. Niceties don't exist in football. It's a business, man. Karim Benzema, brilliant player. Won Ballon d'Or last season. Move on. Bring in Mbappe. Same thing with Modric. Bring in Bellingham, etc. Bring in these top players. Man, Real Madrid didn't make enough signings in the summer. They retained too many of their assets. Yes, it's good to have Kroos and Modric. Yes, they'll get you a lot of good games. And many will say that, oh, it's a bit harsh given how good Man City are. But Man City are the benchmark. For Real Madrid, you can't be looking at it and thinking, we'll be good against every other team. But if we play Man City, it's fine to lose. That's not the right mentality to have. It's a mentality other football teams can have, but not Real Madrid. You're Real Madrid. You're meant to be the benchmark. You're not meant to look up at any other team to be the benchmark. So if Man City are playing better than you, so be it. Match them and exceed them. And if that means getting rid of certain players that have been brilliant servants to the club, so be it. Move on from them. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know if you agree in the live chat. I think it'll be similar. I'm going for Man City 4, Inter Milan 0. Well, here's the thing, Tommy. This game, a lot of people will think that. I think if Inter Milan keep it tight, anything can happen. But if Man City get the first goal, yeah, it'll be a whitewash. It'll be well and truly a whitewash. But Inter Milan can get something from this game. Look, it's one leg. It's a one-off final. Anything can happen. If you make the Champions League, you're good enough to play. You're good enough to play in that competition, man. Do you know what I mean? They got to make sure they're defensively astute. It'll be a tough game. And look, they will be in that dressing room knowing how tall an order it is. But defend well for your Inter Milan. Limit Man City and show a threat on the counter-attack. That's got to be it. Intensity has to be there. Fight has to be there. Look, you got to play a bit of the dark arts. Maybe go down with tactical fouls. Maybe commit some tactical fouls. Go down with some tactical injuries. Goalkeeper roll around a little bit. Take your time on goal kicks, etc. Eke out the clock a little bit. Do everything it takes to get a result. You're going to need everything against Man City. A brilliant performance, some good dark arts, brilliant game management, and a lot of luck as well. Because if you perform 8 out of 10 and Man City perform 8 out of 10, Man City will win the game. If you perform 10 out of 10 and Man City perform 10 out of 10, Man City will win the game. Even if you perform 10 out of 10 and Man City perform 8 out of 10, more than not, they will win the football game. So you're going to need a little bit of luck at the same time. and you're going to hope Man City gets some injuries. But look, I agree with you. I think Man City will win the Champions League final, but anything can happen, man. Anything can happen in football. Madrid will buy big in the summer and be back. I think so as well. Look, Madrid are ruthless in that sense, right? As soon as they see one season where they're not the top dog, they will do anything it takes to go back into that top dog position. Florentino Perez will assess this and go, look, we lost 4-0, that's embarrassing. 4-0 should not be ever uttered in the same name as Real Madrid in terms of losing by that scoreline. It should not even be mentioned once. So we got to go and buy big. Mbappe, get on the phone to him right now. He's unhappy at PSG. Let's bring him in. Same with Jude Bellingham. Splash the cash. Get these players in, these top dogs that can compete with Man City. Because we need our status back. That's what Real Madrid should be saying. Real Madrid will always be the biggest club in the world. I agree. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Liverpool, Bayern Munich. That's my top 5. Let me know if you agree in the live chat. Courtois was really good, but what can he do any better than whole Man City is perfectly too good? I agree. I thought Courtois would play brilliant, man. Like, he made some brilliant saves. Haaland, he made a brilliant save with him off a header. Again, with a low shot, Haaland could have made it 3-0 before the own goal. Really, really good performance overall from Courtois, man. But it's not enough. It's not enough, right? I thought it was really strange to get rid of Rudiger. Rudiger was brilliant against Haaland. He was matching up to him physically in terms of his pace and in terms of strength. Then you just bring in Eder Militao. I understand Eder Militao was suspended for the first game, so couldn't play. But still, man, like you shouldn't just drop Rudiger, man. He's already had one leg with Haaland. He's really grown to understand how he's going to play football, how he's going to turn. He's felt his body. So I think I would have stuck with Rudiger personally. Eder Militao ended up scoring their own goal. Of course, it's Rich saying it in hindsight, but that's just my thoughts on it. I think I should touch on the goals as well, to be honest, because Bernardo Silva, a man that's not talked about enough. A man that, to be fair, is one of the players that's not necessarily guaranteed to be in that starting 11 because it's either him or Riyad Mahrez that starts. But Pep Guardiola likes playing Bernardo Silva to play that inverted right mid-roll where he can slot it to midfield and be an even more of a presence in there and play those forward passes to Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland. But Bernardo Silva has been a brilliant servant to Man City, and he's been one of the most underrated players there, man. And I was really happy for him to score his 2 goals. This was in many respects Bernardo Silva's night because he's a player that goes under the radar so much. He's a top player, man, but he always goes about his business like a silent assassin. Doesn't necessarily get the plaudits he deserves. Doesn't go around with a big mouth talking about I'm this, I'm that, but just does everything silently and popped up in the right moments to score today, man. When his team needed him most, he was there to score. He was there to chip in with goals. And it was big. It was big goals as well because, look, for all the pressure Man City had, and you could say a goal was inevitable, you still need to put the ball in the back of the net because Real Madrid were not going to stay silent forever. Like, if that game stayed 0-0, Real Madrid would have had a period in that match where it would have been nervy, but a big play set up at the right moment, man. That first goal, brilliant passing, not good enough tracking the run, and De Bruyne finds a pass to Bernardo Silva, and brilliant reverse shot into the top corner to make it 1-0. And the second goal, right place, right time to head it into the top corner. Brilliant goal. Man City will win 3-1. I don't think Inter Milan has a chance. City has an amazing defense, midfield, and attack. Look, Luke, I think you're right. I think Man City will win the Champions League final, but you got to have some kind of optimism, and anything can happen in football. From now towards the end of the season, we might see Man City pick up an injury. God forbid it might happen. Rodri might get an injury. Haaland might get an injury. De Bruyne might get an injury. We might see Man City lose to Chelsea. Might see them lose to Brighton or Brentford. We might see one of those teams expose something incredible about Man City. Expose something we've never seen before. Hang on a minute. If you attack that on this side, if you play a pass through this diagonal, suddenly Man City look really vulnerable. That's what we might see. But who knows, man? I think if I look at it, I don't really see weakness with Man City. But if there's one thing I can think of, I'd say it's the diagonals through the lines, especially to where Akanji is, because look, they're playing the 4 that centre backs. If you don't include Kyle Walker, they're playing like a 3-2, like a 3-2. How do I explain? 3-2-4-1. They kind of play. I always seem like 3-2-3-2 with De Bruyne being so close to Haaland at times. That's what more likely Man City's formation, and it's a crazy formation of 3-2-3-2. But what Pep Guardiola's noticed is pack out that midfield, man. If you pack out the midfield, you dominate. And if you have De Bruyne in there, if you have Bernardo Silva in there, if you have Jack Grealish and Ilkay Gundogan in there, if you have so many ball-playing players in behind Erling Haaland, you're going to get chances, man. And another thing I noticed today is how direct Man City were. I feel like in the Premier League, Man City sometimes they bypass Haaland at times. They don't always play that killer pass. But in the Champions League, I think Guardiola has told them, find that killer pass to Haaland, man. No more messing about. No more being Mr. Nice Guy. If Haaland's there, play that pass to him, man. Play that killer pass right through to him. They'll do that a lot. They were forcing it at times, but it was working. Because of Haaland's tenacity and his athleticism, he will find a way onto those loose balls. He'll find a way to get those chances. And I think Man City were doing exactly that. Coventry just beat Middlesbrough 1-0. Barrow put one off the bar from 4 yards out, 6 minutes in added time. Well, there we go, man. Does that mean it's Coventry versus Luton in the Championship final? I would have watched it any other night. Oh, there we go, man. Too much football at once. Coventry versus Luton in the EFL Championship Finals. There we go. I fancy Luton now. Luton in the Prem will be absolutely crazy. There'll be some smaller clubs in the Prem next season. I expect that. Royal redemption arc for Ederson this season in the Champions League. I've always felt if he steps up in terms of making saves, Man City will have a better chance of finally winning it. Well, here's the thing, right, Luke. I'm not the... Look, Ederson's a brilliant player. With the ball at his feet, he's untouchable at times. I don't think he's a brilliant shot-stopping goalkeeper, personally. I've never really thought that was the case. I always thought Alisson's better than him. I still do believe Alisson is better than Ederson. But Ederson's a big personality, and Ederson will make the big saves, man. Sometimes I think he's too relaxed with the ball at his feet, and I feel like sometimes he even gives me heart attacks, even though I'm not a Man City fan, that he's going to mess up and do something crazy. But the man has stood up big for Man City, right? He's been around there for a lot. He was one of Pep Guardiola's first signings, alongside the players like Ilkay Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, etc. He's been around Man City for a long time. Everything has accumulated in this moment. Everything has led up to this climax of Man City potentially winning the Champions League. Guardiola wasn't brought in to win the Premier League. Let's not forget that. Because look, if they wanted to win the Premier League, they wouldn't have sacked Pellegrini, Mancini, etc. Guardiola was brought in to win the Champions League. Guardiola was brought in to take Man City from a team that wins a Premier League to a European powerhouse that wins the Champions League. It's taken him a few seasons, but he's finally built a super team that can do it. He's finally built a team that has hit the form at the right moment and can do it. And players like Ederson have epitomized that, man. Ederson, for me, not the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, but his form right now shows it. That's all that matters right now, man. We can talk about players like Salah being one of the best right wingers. We can talk about players like Mane being one of the best left wingers, bro. If they're not showing it right now, it doesn't matter. You're only as good as your last game, just like the old cliche says, right? And Man City players right now are the best in the world. Like, not only in terms of their actual stature as a player, but in terms of their quality and their form right now. It is all top draw. Bournemouth. Whoa, I just lost your comments, guys. Bournemouth, Brentford, and Luton in the Prem. Wow. Yeah, man, it'd be absolutely crazy. Courtois kept the score down, some great saves. I agree, man. Courtois did his job today, but it wasn't enough. Look, losing 4-0 and your goalkeeper being one of your best players, that sums it all up, really. Genuinely, it sums it all up. Just how far off Real Madrid are from Man City. I expect them to make a lot of signings in the summer. Real Madrid they do have that ruthless gene about them, which I do rate. Like, as soon as they notice a ship even having a sense of sinking, they salvage it as soon as possible. They spend the money in the right areas. They ship out the wrong players. They're ruthless in that sense. They don't allow you to have bad games. Because I feel like a lot of other football clubs, they'll be like, it's just a game against Man City. It is what it is. We'll try and move on and get better next season. Lessons will be learned. Let's see what happens, man. Zane, appreciate you on the stream. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here, my friend. The Man United fans sweating. I agree. Look, they could do the treble and take it off Man United. Who did it in 99? Take the record off Man United, sorry. Who did it, of course, in 99. Here's the thing, right? Man United had the opportunity to stop Man City win the treble in the FA Cup final. So that's got to be their objective. Look, everything else is out of their hands. The Champions League's out of their hands. The Premier League's out of their hands. You can stop them doing it in the FA Cup final. How crazy it would be. I'll be covering that game on this channel, by the way, 100%. I'll be covering Man United, Man City in the FA Cup final on this channel. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. How amazing would it be if Man United stopped Man City win the treble? This Man City, amazing team. I will not believe it. I want Man United to win the FA Cup, personally, because I don't want Man City to win the treble either. I'd love Inter Milan to win the Champions League final. I can't see it happening, but who knows, man. Either that'll be an absolutely brilliant game. I can't wait for it. At least they have it in their power to stop them. Exactly, Tommy. Exactly what I just said. Hit the nail on the head. Marcelo, appreciate you on the stream. Unfortunately, I don't speak. I think that's Portuguese. I don't speak Portuguese, but I hope you're enjoying the stream regardless. Cruz shot was unlucky. If that went in, maybe it could have been different. But let's be real, Real Madrid barely created a thing. Tommy, you're right. Even the shot from Alaba from the free kick, brilliant knuckleball. But your second point is completely true as well. They're relying on brilliant moments. They're relying on genius moments. They're relying on absolute wonder strikes. That shouldn't be your game plan. Yeah, you're going to get brilliant goals out of nowhere, but your game plan, trust me, no coach in world football, especially Ancelotti Guardiola, writes up a game plan for Alaba and Modric and Cruz to score from 30 yards out. That's not their game plan. Their game plan is to put the ball in the areas for Benzema, Vinicius Jr, and Rodrigo to score inside the box. That's how a coach writes up a game plan, because they're good goals in terms of the XG. A shot from outside the box has got a low XG. You're going to take them from time to time. And yeah, they might go in. But if they go in, that's just a wonder strike. No coach plans for that to happen. So if Man City, Real Madrid got a goal from there, that would be daylight robbery in many respects. They wouldn't have deserved it. Yeah, you can talk about how they wouldn't have deserved it. They would have got it anyway. And I agree with that to 100%, to the highest degree. But I'm also someone that believes that there's justice in football to an extent, right? You're going to get goals from outside the box, whether you deserve it or not. But at the same time, I feel like you should at least show some kind of cutting edge in terms of getting the ball in dangerous areas, because shooting from outside the box anyone can do, but actually cutting a team open, slicing them through the middle open is very tough. Not a lot of teams can do it. And Real Madrid could not do that one bit today against Man City. Over 300 people watching right now. Yeah, it's died down a little bit, Jeff, but I appreciate everyone tuning as always. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. Hey, Diz. Hey, Mario, hope you're doing well. Doing well myself, thank you. Real Madrid was sleepwalking that game, wondering how Madrid destroyed Liverpool 5-2 in the first leg of the round of 16. Real Madrid were terrible today. Luke, you're 100% right, but let's be real. This Liverpool team compared to Man City is a different kettle of fish. I know they were fighting for the seasons. I know they were fighting for the title season out. And I know that Man City team were unbelievable back then. But this Man City team is better. Trust me. I don't care how many points they get. I don't care what their final points tally is. I don't care what results they get. The eye test alone tells me this Man City team is better than any other Man City team I've seen in my life. This Man City team is a cut above the rest. The quality oozes through that team. The composure oozes through that team. There's no weakness. When I used to say Man City's weakness was set pieces, under their old team, with Aguero in the team, Fernandinho in the team, I used to say, bully them from set pieces. You can't even do that anymore. If anything, set pieces is one of their biggest assets. They've got Stones, Haaland, Diaz, Akanji, Rodri. You're talking about big units in that team, going forward and going back from set pieces that will defend brilliantly and attack brilliantly. So if you're going to try and get a set piece against them, it's not like it's guaranteed to be a goal like any other clubs. You know what I mean? So I think Man City are genuinely that good. I agree. Pep needs to win the Champions League. Should beat Inter Milan, but then they should have beat Chelsea a few years ago. Well, here's the thing: Pep Guardiola notoriously overthinks in Champions League finals. Remember against Chelsea when he benched Rodri? What a crazy decision that was. I don't think he'll do it this season, but anything can happen, man. Anything can happen. Either way, look, Inter Milan will be ready. And another thing with football is, right, nothing lasts forever. You might think everything's amazing. Look, Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team, you might thought it would last forever, but it doesn't. Every game Man City play is a game closer to an opponent figuring out how to stop them. Because everything is avoidable in football. Everything can be stopped. Right now, they look unstoppable. Right now, they look invincible. But they can be stopped, trust me. It's just about figuring out how to stop them. And it will happen eventually. An opponent will find a way to stop Man City. It's just when. Like I said, every game is a game closer to it happening. Let's see. Brighton might expose Man City and win 2-0 at the Amex. You never know. And suddenly you think, hang on a minute, Man City look really weak here. We never saw that before. Remember when everyone was talking about how Liverpool were that good, and suddenly this season, Trent Alexander-Arnold's been exposed for poor defending. And everyone's saying, just attack down Liverpool's right, and Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend. Now they've sorted them into midfield, and it's working a bit better, but there's still that defensive lapses in concentration by Trent Alexander-Arnold. The same thing can happen to Man City. They look unbelievable right now. The quality's there. They look unstoppable, but there is a weakness in that team. Football is it's too finicky. There's too many details for there not to be a weakness. So you just got to find the weakness. It's one thing finding it. It's the second thing exploiting it. And a team will do it. Sooner rather than later, a team will find a way to exploit Man City. It's just a case of when. If Brighton at the Amex or Brentford at the GTEC Community Stadium finds a way to exploit Man City, suddenly, or even Man United in the FA Cup final, Inter Milan can look at that on video and go, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do, because it's going to happen eventually. Let's see if it does. But as of now, the quality Man City are playing, they've hit form at the right moment, and they look unstoppable. They will do it now. This was a big test for City, and they smashed it. Yeah, you're right. And don't just beat them. You're 100% right. They smashed it out the park. Completely blew Real Madrid to smithereens, man. Very, very easy game. Have you got a cold? Man, you're 100% right. I'm recovering from a cold/COVID. Still doing the streams. That's why my voice is a little bit funny. Also, because I've been on site a lot, my voice has got a little bit because I'm project manager, so I've been shouting at a lot of the people on what to do. But yeah, that's why. But yeah, I'm a little bit ill right now, but still deliver the content, man. The commitment's always there. Everyone that's hearing that, make sure you subscribe, man, for the commitment and for the consistency on this channel. Long time, my friend. VD Predict, haven't seen you in so long. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you on the stream as always. Why do you say that, Malia? Probably because of my voice. So yeah, Malia's locked in. Long time, my friend. Appreciate you tuning into the stream. VD Predicts. Luke says Real Madrid looked absolutely lost. You're right. And Man City can do that. Look, Man City can do that. And we can sit here and we can slate Real Madrid. Now, we'll slate Real Madrid. And I think me slating Real Madrid should actually be a respect thing for them. Because, look, trust me, if this game was Fulham versus Man City and it ended like this, I wouldn't be sitting here slating Fulham. I'd just be saying, how do you stop it? But because it's Real Madrid and because of the name they have and because of the respect I have for that football club, I feel like I have to slate them. Like, you can't accept 4-0 at Real Madrid. You can't. As soon as you start accepting 4-0, the standards have gone from that football club. So because it is Real Madrid, I feel like I have a right to slate them for this performance. But they did look absolutely lost. They looked a complete shambles. They looked like they'd never played football before. A bunch of individuals. And I'm not saying that's the case because Real Madrid have proven they're a top football team. That's just how Man City have made them look. And you can say, oh, that's because Man City is so good. But you're Real Madrid. You find a way over it. You find a way in and around that mountain. And they didn't today. Rudiger was missing. You're right. He didn't start him. I don't know why, man. I don't know why. Like, he was so good against Haaland in the first leg. Why revert to style and go back to Ederson Militao? I don't get it. Don't know why Rudiger came on for Modric. Yeah, like, you're still chasing the game, but I don't get it, man. He's gone by tomorrow's. Adios, Carlo. Thanks for the memories. Well, here's the thing. You're right. Florentino Perez is ruthless as well. He'll probably get rid of Carlo Ancelotti. I think Ancelotti's probably going to go to, was it Brazil as the manager? I think I heard him talks about him becoming the Brazil manager potentially, which will be a brilliant potential move for him, especially with the Copa America coming up soon. So that'll be interesting. Carlo's not going to be sacked. Who knows, man? Who knows? Real Madrid are that ruthless. What's it called? Florentino Perez is that ruthless. I wouldn't put it past him. Lloyd, appreciate you joining the stream as always. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Things are changed. Things are changed. It's football. Stay safe. You're right. Things will change in football because that's just the way it is. But at the same time, man, I got to look at it and say that, look, things do change in football. You're 100% right. But Man City's quality right now doesn't look like it's going to get stopped. That's one thing I will say. Trust me, he's going to resign by tomorrow evening. Well, let's see, man. Let's see. Puzzle, appreciate you joining the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Madrid looked lost. Agree with you 100%. I was with City, though, so yes. Okay, so you wanted City to win. Well, there we go. I feel like a lot of people wanted Real Madrid to win just because of their Champions League heritage. I wanted Real Madrid to win, of course, because I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't want Man City to win the Champions League. But I have to sit there and applaud it. At a certain point, I am a football purist, right? I can take all my bias out the window and I'll be a football purist. And a football purist is someone who believes the better team should win the football match. It doesn't always pan out that way, but if I put my football purist hat on, if I stop caring about what team I support, what team I'd rather win, which players I'd rather prefer, I want to see the team that deserves to win. And I think every single football purist, and if an alien came down to Earth and didn't have any allegiances to any football club, didn't even know football exists, and just watched that game, they would say, I want Man City to win that football game. Because they were the better team. They pushed the harder. They played the better football. They had the more urgency. They were knocking the ball around better. They were flying into more challenges. Everything about that Man City team showed a team that wanted to reach a Champions League final. We're talking about... Everyone can talk a big game, but it's all about your body language on the football pitch. Show me, don't tell me. And if I look at the two teams, Man City showed me a team that was desperate to reach the Champions League final in Istanbul. They wanted to play in Istanbul late June, whereas Real Madrid felt satisfied with 14 Champions Leagues. If I'm being completely honest about it, that's how it felt. It's harsh, but true. Even feels weird to say Madrid equals 0. Yeah, look, Man City have limited Real Madrid to 1 goal over 180 minutes and Bayern Munich to 1 goal over 180 minutes. That speaks volumes. And over the 2 legs, they've scored 9 goals against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid over 2 legs. Their aggregate is 9-2 against those 2 teams over 4 games of football. That is incredible, man. That is incredible. Not only are they beating these top teams that we all expect to be very tight, cagey matches where it can go either way and such slim margins and it can be settled so quickly, they're demolishing those teams. Like, I put out my Instagram story the other day when I quoted, I think it was Wayne Rooney that said it. I said, Man City going to destroy Real Madrid. I quoted it and said, I agree. Man City going to destroy Real Madrid. And a lot of people popped up to it saying, no, they're not. It's Real Madrid. This isn't like Bayern Munich. This isn't like any other team. Look, the Man City quality is top. Like, genuinely, I've watched a lot of games of football from them this season, especially since the Nottingham Forest game. It's a cut above the rest. It's genuinely that good. A lot of people haven't seen those games. They probably just think, Real Madrid are that good. Bayern Munich are that good. They'll make a game for Man City. But trust me, they are a cut above the rest. To win 9-2 in aggregate still, that shows they've just demolished those teams. Not only beat them, demolished them. The fact that it's not even been a football contest, it seems, that deserves a lot of credit. So you have to hold your head up high. You got to tip your hat to them. They've been a top team. Hope the curse breaks for Man City. Well, let's see, Puzzle. Let's see, man. Let's see if the Yaya Toure curse has been broken. Man City is the best. 100% agree, man. 100% agree. Akimbola, appreciate joining the stream. Derry, appreciate joining the stream as well, but make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. I didn't see Kamavinga today. Well, look, this is the thing. They're trying to make Kamavinga that left back role, that inverted role. I feel like a lot of teams are running that inverted left back role, whether it's John Stones, whether it is Zinchenko, Kamavinga, Alexander Arnold doing it at right back. And it works at times, it does, but I feel like, well, I thought personally it would work better because, of course, Bernardo Silva's playing on the right-hand side, right? That with Bernardo Silva slotting into midfield, it kind of helps because Kamavinga won't be outpaced by Bernardo Silva, and he's got time to slot into midfield as well. I actually think it would have been better if Jack Grealish went onto the right-hand side, or even risk it with Riyad Mahrez out there to try and run at Kamavinga, who's not a natural left-back. It worked for Man City though, so I'm not gonna say anything against it. But yeah, a lot of teams are running that, but it does also mean that if you don't have possession on the football, you look a little bit lost. Like, if Arsenal are defending, Zinchenko becomes their biggest liability. When Arsenal are attacking, Zinchenko becomes their biggest asset. That's the thing with inverted fullbacks. Brilliant going forward, but defensively, they look lost. That's just how it is. Why didn't Carlos start? Rudiger had a good first game. look, you tell me, Tommy, man. Your guess is as good as mine, bro. I would have done the same thing. I don't know why he reverted to Eder Militao. He was suspended for the first game. Already had a run out against Haaland. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I thought they did really well against Haaland in the first leg as well. Atavaldo, appreciate you on the stream. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, Andy, my friend. Bora City. Well, there we go, man. There we go. Facts TV, appreciate you joining the stream. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, Andy, my friend. There was fire in the camp. I'm guessing you mean in a sense that they had the fire in their bellies. Is that what you mean? Or was there genuinely a fire in the camp? I didn't hear about it if there was. But yeah, if you talk about the fire in their bellies, you're 100% right, man. Man City had that. Like I said, if you look at the two teams, if an alien came down to Earth and had no prior history or bias towards either the sides, and you just said to the alien, who is the better team? Who deserves to reach the final? The alien would say Man City. They played the better football. They looked more hungry. They were the ones that wanted to win that first Champions League in their history. They were the ones that wanted to be on the plane to Istanbul in a few weeks' time. Whereas Real Madrid, if you ask them, if you look at their body language, it almost looked as if they were going to say, we're fine with 14 Champions Leagues. We won it last year. Let's let Man City win it. That's what it felt like for them. Look, I've said it before. I said about Liverpool at the start of the season, man. The reason I thought Liverpool was so slow to start the season, I predicted it, by the way. I predicted at the start of the season that Liverpool were going to have a fall off. It's because of the mental fatigue, right? Liverpool won every competition. It's impossible to keep at it when you've won every competition, man. It's like completing a video game and trying to complete it again. Yeah, you'll be good at it because you completed it. You're clearly good enough to beat the game, but have you got the same enthusiasm to complete that same game? That's the same thing with Real Madrid, right? These players have won the Champions League. Do those same players want to win the Champions League again and again and again? You heard Valverde say he wants to win it again so he can match his shirt number. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? You want to win the Champions League again so it matches your shirt number? Like, what kind of ambition is that? You can see Man City's ambition. They want to win the Champions League for the first time in their life. You see Pep Guardiola's ambition. He wants to win it without Messi for the first time in his life. Where's Real Madrid's ambition? Where was that desire to win the Champions League? It's almost as if they were just in that position because of their name and because of their quality, rather than their actual inner desire. Because when the going gets tough, quality will only take you so far. You need that extra little perseverance. You know what I mean? That consistency, the determination. Those are the slim margins that get you over these games. Those are the things that make you run 101 kilometers rather than 100 kilometers. And Real Madrid lack that. And when you're playing Man City, like I said before, not only do you have to play brilliantly, not only do you need Man City to not play well, you need to play brilliantly, man. You need to perform 10 out of 10. And even that may not be enough. And Real Madrid barely performed 5 out of 10, let alone 10 out of 10. So you're 100% right if you said that Man City had that fire in that camp, instead they had that fire in their bellies when Real Madrid didn't. Newcastle's going to beat Brighton 2-1 tomorrow. Should be a good game. Well, let's see. If Newcastle win, that'll be a massive 3-point in respect to the top 4. Of course, I'll be covering that game on this channel. Make sure you subscribe for new ones here so you don't miss it. But yeah, can't wait for that game. Will be a brilliant one as well. I hope so, Luke. Yeah, I mean, look, Liverpool fans will, of course, want Brighton to win the football match. But even so, look, Brighton and Newcastle are still both on good path to get Champions League football. I mean, they're both doing really, really well. Liverpool, of course, are making a run for it, but Brighton winning 3-0 at the Emirates. What a result for them, by the way. I'm going for a draw. I'm going for a draw as well, man. My prediction is 2-2. I don't see Pep overthinking this time. Well, here's the thing. Does he learn his lesson? That's the main thing. I hope so. I want Pep to win the Champions League without Messi. I wouldn't want him to win it with Man City because I don't want Man City to win the Champions League. But if it happens, it happens. Look, I'm a football fan channel at the end of the day. This isn't why Arsenal. This is why football. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I talk about football. I'm going to be unbiased. If Man City win the Champions League this season, I can only tip my hat at them. I can't sit there and go, oh, they won the Champions League. I can only say, congratulations, they deserved it. Genuinely, they deserved it. Just like they deserve to win the Premier League, they deserve to win the Champions League, and they will deserve to win the FA Cup if they do that as well. The way they play football is genuinely, it's a credit to them, man. And one thing about Pep Guardiola, I'm going to big up Pep Guardiola right now because I've grown up in England, right? And having grown up in England, obviously, having learned to play football, I had a lot of coaches that would play football the old style way. Boot the ball up the pitch. You know what I mean? Just lob a target man up there, tallest player up front, tallest player at the back, and just lob the ball up there. That wasn't football that suited my style. I was more of a Pep Guardiola player in the sense that I like getting the ball on the ground, get the ball on the carpet and knock it about. I feel like when I watch football from the grassroots nowadays, and I do a little bit from time to time, and I hear about it from my friends as well and stuff, etc. Pep Guardiola has changed the English game. He's changed the way English people approach football and appreciate football. There's more of an emphasis on technical quality rather than just being tall and being big. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's much better because it's more aesthetic. England has always seen football as a very pragmatic style. Lump the ball up the pitch, long ball FC, long throw-ins, Stoke City football. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Pep Guardiola has changed how football is approached in this country. I think that's always a good thing. If football can be innovated, I'm always here for it. And Pep Guardiola is an innovator. He learned from brilliant managers around him, brilliant players around him, like Johan Cruyff, for example. Massive factor in Pep Guardiola's success. But he's also done a lot himself, and he's benefited a lot from them, man. So Pep Guardiola, a massive respect to him, man. Top manager, genuinely. And if he wins a treble, he goes down for me as the greatest manager of all time if he wins a treble with Man City this season. Football goes in cycles. I agree, Tommy. Look, nothing lasts forever. Man City are the bee's knees right now. They look like the best thing since sliced bread, but it will inevitably change. Nothing good goes on forever. I think Pep may retire if they win the treble. I don't think so. Look, Pep Guardiola's got a lot of life left in him. He can retire if he wants to, but I don't think he wants. He loves this game. This is the thing, right? When you're involved with football, it's impossible to give it up, man. It's impossible to give it up because it courses through your veins. Like anyone that retires, they feel like their life is over. Like look at Roy Hodgson. He retired from football. You're thinking, enjoy your retirement. He's itching to get back into it. It makes up a part of their lives. This is a hobby for them that stayed with them for 60, 70 years. Like this is their life. They can't. They every time they wake up, they think, what am I doing to manage this football team? What tactics am I thinking today? How are we going to set up training? This is their life. Football is their life. They can't imagine retirement. Pep Guardiola, for me, he epitomizes a man that lives and breathes football. He epitomizes a man that football courses through their veins. For me, he's a Leonardo da Vinci, the Vincent van Gogh of football. He's the innovator. He's the artist. He's a man that's always looking to improve. He's a perfectionist in many sense. Football is never enough for him. It's never enough to win 2-0, 3-0. Despite winning 4-0 against Real Madrid today, he might say in the press conference, brilliant, unbelievable result. He'll still be thinking in his head, how can we improve? How can we get better? Because he's never, ever content, man. And that's one thing I rate about the man. Because complacency does not exist with Pep Guardiola. He's ruthless and he's not complacent. João Cancelo, one of his best players last season, mugged him off on the training ground, got rid of him, got shot of him, said we'll figure out later. We don't need a left back at the club. I'd rather have no left back than a left back that disrespected me. That's what I read about the man, bro. He takes zero disrespect. He's always innovating. He plays beautiful football. That man's a top manager. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on live chat as well. Dick Johan, appreciate joining the stream. As always, you say it's buffering. I hope it's not buffering too much. It's better than yesterday. I've changed to a 4G internet connection. So hopefully it's better than the Wi-Fi out where I am. This isn't my usual setup. Those of you that are new around here, by the way. The people that are here, regulars, will know that my usual setup has got like books in the background and stuff. Like it's in my room. Check out my previous videos and you'll see it. But yeah, I'm currently away for the week in a field trip, so it's not my usual setup. But I hope the quality is still kind of good. Never thought Barcelona would be beaten, but Bayern Munich found them out. Exactly, Tommy. So Barcelona, that same 2008 to 2012 team. Look, it took 5 years of brilliant football for them to finally get stopped, but it will get stopped. Nothing is inevitable in football. Nothing is inevitable in football. Oh, sorry, I hope you get better. Didn't think anything was wrong with your voice. You sound perfect, but hopefully that is a sign that you're fully recovered. Stay strong. I've gone over the worst of it, to be honest, Luke. But yeah, I guess it's just... but my voice is a little bit gone. I've still got a bit of like sniffles and nose, but yeah, that's the main thing. Yes, Brazil won him. You're talking about Ancelotti, right? I think it'd be a brilliant appointment. The thing is, World Cup just finished, so they're going to have him in 4 years' time. They got the World Cup, because I don't think Brazil, like, they want to win the Copa America, of course, but if you're Brazil, the Copa America is like, it's like the Europa League, right? You want to win the big Don competition, which is the World Cup. Went for my opponent today, and the doctor said both my bones are healed. Big up Luke, man. Big up Luke. Yeah, I remember like a month or so ago, you came onto the streams, or a few weeks ago, saying that what's it called? You broke your bone. You broke your bones. Was it your arm? I think it was your arm, right? And you're getting them healed. So it's big up you for saying that. For the doctor saying it's been healed now. That's really good news. Remember on one video you replied to this one person. You said, "I hope City never win the Champions League." They are pissed now. They've had enough. Well, exactly, man. Exactly. I hope they never win the Champions League. But at the same time, look, I can't sit here and be mad because they deserve it. They genuinely deserve it. For all my words saying I don't want Man City to win Champions League. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't want it to happen. I run a football channel. I don't run an Arsenal channel. This is an Arsenal fan TV. This is a football channel. This is why football. I'm here to talk about football. And Man City play brilliant football, and I will not hate. I've not sat here and I've got Man City terrible. Man City fluked it. I sit here open and honest and say Man City were brilliant. Their football is unbelievable. They deserve to win the Premier League. For all the times Arsenal bottled it, let's not forget Man City still won 14 Premier League games in a row. They don't get the respect they deserve. Everyone goes Arsenal bottled it. And we did bottle it. Let's not take that away. But if Arsenal teams in the past have bottled things, but they're not being labelled bottlers because they're still going on to win the Premier League. If Man City replicate the form of other teams around the country and if they replicate the forms of even Manchester United back in the day winning the Premier League, Arsenal will still have gone on to win the Premier League. It's just because Man City are that good that Arsenal become bottlers by bottling the Premier League, because losing 2 games is defined as bottling nowadays. And it is bottling it. losing to West Ham, drawing to West Ham, Southampton, lose to Brighton, to lose the Premier League is a bottle job. But it's how it is, man. It's how it is in football. Let's be honest, City should have won it by now. This is the time now. I agree, man. I agree. They've had it long enough. Like I said, Pep Guardiola was brought in to win the Champions League. If they brought him in to win the Premier League, they would have just stuck with Mancini and Pellegrini. They did that job. Them lot couldn't win Man City the Champions League. They looked around and they said, this is Pep Guardiola. Won it at Barcelona, football specialist. I want this team to become a European powerhouse. Not a Premier League powerhouse, a European powerhouse. He's on his way to do that. I say Man City had a 91% chance and Inter has a 5.7% chance. Where the remaining 3% go then? Where the remaining 3.3% go? It will be a carbon copy of the first half. Inter will sit back, look passive, can't deal with the pace, and they will not be able to hold City out. Well, let's see, man. Let's see. A lot of people thinking it's going to be a whitewash. I'm going to be optimistic and hopefully say Inter can give them a game. Look, if Man City score early, I think it will be game over. But if Man City score early, I feel like a lot of teams get really nervous, get itchy feet and start throwing at it. And then Man City get another goal. It happened against Everton. When Everton started that game really well against Man City, genuinely really good. They'll get creating pockets. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Ducroix getting chances. Holgate had a really good chance in the first half. As soon as Gundogan got that first goal, they lost a bit of their heads, Everton. And then they got a second goal straight away with Haaland. And it was game over by that point, 2-0. So you can't lose your head. Same thing happened against Leeds United. That's the thing with Man City. Same thing happened against West Ham as well. That first goal was a big killer blow. So if you're Inter Milan, you concede early. It's not ideal, but keep the game at 1-0. Keep it at 1-0 if so be it. Obviously, 0-0 is better, but don't make it a 2-0 Man City because then you're chasing the game and they'll make it 3-0 because they're that good. They don't leak goals at the back either. So it will be a tough game for Inter Milan. They'll take a lot of punishment in that game. There will be a box on the ropes, but strange things have happened, bro. This is sport. Sport is a definition of anything can happen. It literally is what it is. I would have preferred Real versus Inter as a spectacle, but it is what it is. I agree, Tommy, but look, we can't hate on Man City. If Chelsea beat Man City on Sunday, I will go jump in a pool. Well, this is the thing. I don't think anyone's expecting it. I'd love to see it happen as an Arsenal fan, but I've resigned to the fact we've lost the title. I'm not even going to sit here and label it a title race anymore. It's over. It's a Man City title. It's a case of when, not a matter of if. Kaka, appreciate you on the stream. It's always hope I pronounce that right. City, I think you're saying City there. Yeah, big up to them. They were brilliant today as well. Chelsea won't lay a glove on them. Lampard out of his depth. Agree. And Pochettino coming in though, that'll be a brilliant appointment for Chelsea. I would have preferred Enrique, but I still think Pochettino's a decent appointment. Frank Lampard is worse than Big Sam, 100%, man. At least Big Sam brought an identity to Leeds United. Yeah, it's a negative identity. Yeah, it's a bit of fossil football, but at least it is some kind of identity. Chelsea have not got any identity. But yeah, I'm going to start to wrap up this stream after I go through all the rest of your comments, as it has already lasted over an hour. Chelsea will lose both trips to Manchester. Yes, I agree, man. Because they go to Man United the week after. And look, Chelsea are the whipping boys right now. They're probably the easiest game in the Premier League. They're on the beach. They're genuinely on the beach. Like, a lot of those players, I'm interested to see Chelsea next season because Chelsea next season could be one of those, like, buy now stock options. You know what I mean? Like, their stock could rise exponentially next season. I have a lot of faith in Chelsea making a bounce back. For me, I don't think it's enough to quite go for the title, but top four can be on the cards for Chelsea next season. We've seen teams make bigger jumps. We've seen teams make bigger jumps than them. Like, look at Man United last season. I know they didn't finish as bad in terms of position as Chelsea, but they were dead and buried. Erik ten Hag in his first season turns that team into title challenges until about January, winning the Carabao Cup and the final way from winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup. Done a brilliant first job. Pochettino's been in the Premier League before under Tottenham, done a brilliant job there as well. He can take this Chelsea team up levels. The quality of players are there. Don't tell me those aren't good players. They're very good players. They're just not got the confidence right now. So let's see what happens. Chelsea not winning any more games. I'll believe that to an extent, Luke. I could believe that to an extent. They've still got tough games coming up. Yeah, it was my arm. Thank you. Glad it healed, Luke. Glad it healed indeed. At least Tottenham didn't do it. Yeah, you're right in that sense, man. You're 100% right in that sense. Winning UEFA Champions League, that is Arsenal would be really left out then. That's exactly what I didn't want Man City to win it, Tommy, because I'm an Arsenal fan, right? How many times have I heard people say, oh, we never won the Champions League? It's so true. Genuinely, I went on the Emirates Stadium tour last Saturday, right? And look at, first of all, there wasn't a lot of trophies in the stadium tour. I don't know why. Like, Arsenal's a historic club. There's not a Champions League then. I'm sitting there thinking, we're the biggest club in London, in my opinion, bigger than Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we haven't won a Champions League. Like, we haven't shown European dominance at one point. We can't sit there and go, we were categorically the best team in Europe at any point in our history. And that's really got hurt, man. Really got hurt. Yeah, we might have won it before it was a Champions League, etc. Old Cup Winners' Cup and all that stuff. But I want to win a Champions League, man. I want to show European dominance. And Arsenal haven't had that. And I want what happens to Arsenal to happen to Man City, where in a few years' time, where Man City's dominance finally comes to an end, I want people to say to Man City, oh, we never won a Champions League. Yeah, you won all these prems. Yeah, you played beautiful football. You had all these star players like De Bruyne, etc. But where was your Premier League? Sorry, where was your Champions League? That's what I want to happen to Man City. Look, if they win against Inter Milan, fair play, man. They've done it. Suggestion: when you add memberships to your channel, you should make one emoji and it has your face in it and like a shocked face or a pissed face. That's a really good idea, Luke. Actually, I'm very close to monetization, so let's see when it happens. And when it does, I'll add memberships, member only streams, etc. We'll be doing all that live chats, super chats, etc. A lot of things in the pipeline for this channel towards the end of the season, and of course leading into next season as well. Slightly off topic, this may be hard to answer, but do you think Chelsea could become bigger than Arsenal? And if so, what would they need to do? They have 2 UEFA Champions Leagues. Okay, Tommy, it's a very good question. As an Arsenal fan, I think it is possible. I think it is. They're closer to Arsenal than Arsenal are to Liverpool and Man United, in my opinion. I think Liverpool and Man United are cut above the rest. Then it's Arsenal, and then it's Chelsea in like a tier with the other teams. But Chelsea are close to Arsenal and Arsenal are to Liverpool and Man United because of Liverpool and Man United's European success. How they do it? It's just carrying on going, man. It's just carrying on getting success after success after success. Eventually, the numbers won't lie. When they overtake Arsenal's trophy count, you'll sit there and go, yeah. I think the history and tradition will always play a factor. And I think there'll always be people that say Arsenal's a bigger club than Chelsea. And you can't say them against them because they always go, look at the historic tradition. Look at Herbert Chapman for Arsenal. When Herbert Chapman was getting titles for Arsenal in the 1930s, Chelsea were barely doing anything. Do you know what I mean? So that will always be a factor in the conversation. But numbers don't lie eventually, and as generations continue and generations die off, the newer fan base will stop caring about the old stories and will start caring about the new stories. And then you'll start to look and go, there'll be more Chelsea fans about, there'll be more conversation about what happened last year, not what happened last century, and eventually Chelsea will overtake Arsenal in that sense. Like I said, I don't think it will happen, but it could happen. Very much could. But yeah, I'm gonna start to wrap up the stream now to round off the game. Man City beat Real Madrid 4-0, winning 5-1 on aggregate. A completely dominating performance today. Real Madrid did not lay a glove on them. Bernardo Silva got the first 2 goals. Brilliant. The first one, a brilliant pass from De Bruyne, and he reverse shot it into the top corner. And then a brilliant header off some great play down the left-hand side to score. Then the third goal came from an own goal. It was Ederson Militao who got brought in for Rudiger today. Completely just misjudged the flight of the ball and kneed it into the back of the net. And then for the cherry on the cake, the icing on the cake, Alvarez right at the end to make it 4-0 and really round off a resounding victory from Man City, who demolished Real Madrid and won 5-1 on aggregate, completely dominating. For Real Madrid, they go back to the drawing board. They're going to make some big signings in the summer, of course, because this can't run. You can't lose 5-1 on aggregate. You can't lose 4-0 in any game. And for Man City, it just goes to show how good a team they are. And I think they proved today for anyone that dared doubt them, they are the best team in the world, and they are very much with 1.5 hands on the Champions League trophy. Of course, I appreciate everyone tuning to the stream as always. It was a big one, a lot of numbers tuning. I appreciate everyone that did. Make sure you subscribe to tune into my next stream, which I hope will be tomorrow for Newcastle versus Brighton in the Premier League. Anyone's just tuning in right now, make sure you scroll right back to the start of the stream so you can hear all about my thoughts on Man City 4, Real Madrid 0. Make sure you like down below. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching this now. It's stopped becoming a stream. It is now a video. Your thoughts on the game and your thoughts on who's going to win the Champions League. In my opinion, just like I said right at the start of the year, I think Man City are going to win the Champions League. They're that good. They've got the quality. They've got the manager. They've got the X factor now of Erling Haaland. Everything about that team, for me, oozes quality. They show no sign of weakness. They're going to win the Champions League. But anything can happen in football. Inter Milan, please just show up and make it a good game, man. That's all I ask. I appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Make sure you tune into my next stream as it comes up. I appreciate all the support recently, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Take care.